There's a sentence I've always remembered. True maturity isn't about learning what to say, but learning what not to say. It's not about how many people accompany you, but about being able to walk with composure even when no one understands you. It sounds simple, yet it captures the deepest truth of life. The greatest growth in a person's life doesn't come from the applause you receive, but from your ability to keep moving forward when there's no applause at all. This is exactly the theme we're talking about today. When you learn to endure on your own, the world begins to make way for you. These few words act both as a mirror and as a key. They reflect each of our struggles in life and open the door to resilience. The phrase endure on your own may seem heavy, but it's actually a forge for the soul, a state of being that doesn't rely on others, doesn't complain, and doesn't back down, a courage to light a lamp even in the darkest night. And the phrase the world makes way is the gentle reward from fate after you've crossed countless mountains, endured loneliness, and faced pain. Many people wish the world would be gentle to them first, hope someone will understand them, hope someone will lend a hand when they fall, hope someone will guide them when they're lost. We crave warmth, we crave understanding, we crave someone to listen. But the truth of life is often the opposite. The world doesn't slow down because you're fragile, nor does it become considerate because you're hurt. The only person who can truly save you is yourself. You have to learn to bear everything on your own. When you're tired, don't complain. When you're hurt, don't retreat. When you're lonely, don't run away. You must learn to heal in silence, to rebuild yourself in nights when no one notices. This is the essence of enduring on your own. Life has always been a one-way street. Every step you take cannot be done by anyone else. Someone may walk with you for a while, but no one can accompany you for a lifetime. Some pain you have to endure yourself. Some obstacles you have to overcome yourself. Some tears you have to wipe yourself. You must learn to walk alone in the night, even when it's completely silent and the wind bites your face. You must learn to swallow your grievances alone, even when your throat tightens and your eyes burn. You must learn to repair your own heart, even if your emotions collapse, rebuilding yourself piece by piece. It is a process of solitude, a long and grueling forge. But trust this, all that loneliness, pain, and struggle quietly shape a stronger version of you. You will realize that the deepest growth doesn't happen in moments of applause, but in countless unseen nights. When you grit your teeth and don't cry, when you repeatedly tell yourself it's okay, when everyone has left and you keep moving forward, that is the moment you have transformed. Enduring on your own is not giving up on the world. It is finally learning to converse with it. You no longer let emotions control you, nor place your hope in others. You begin to understand that your inner strength doesn't come from what anyone gives you, but from how much you can bear. Those who can quietly endure, persist silently, and face life's storms with calmness are ultimately respected by the world. They understand that fate will not pity those who cry, but it will respect those who remain silent and steadfast. Some people grow more silent as they mature, not because they have nothing to say, but because they realize that often no one understands. So they learn to process emotions themselves, soothe themselves, and heal their own wounds. On the surface, they appear calm, but only they know that calm is the result of surviving countless breakdowns, the strength that comes after countless tears have dried. True strength doesn't shout. It grows in silence, shines in solitude. They don't need to prove anything, because they know the world won't make way just because you shout. It will make way because you walk steadily. Real power isn't granted from the outside. It's forged in loneliness and hardship. When you can face disappointment, failure, and being misunderstood and still refuse to give up, that is when you have truly won, because you have earned the right to negotiate with fate. You no longer fear the coldness of the world. nor do you pray for someone to share your burden. You realize that every difficulty is teaching you to grow new wings. When you survive those nights that no one notices, you'll discover that the world making way for you isn't a miracle. It's the result of countless acts of quiet perseverance. At that moment, the world no longer sidesteps you. It opens a bright path. Not because the world has suddenly become gentle, but because you have become worthy. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more inspiration on growth and resilience, and take every step closer to the strength within yourself. Everyone goes through a stage in life like this. You suddenly realize that there are fewer and fewer people you can truly speak your heart to. Those who once said, "You can tell me anything," gradually disappear into their busy lives, not because they're gone, but because they each have their own lives and struggles. You begin to understand that not all care lasts, and not everyone who seems to understand you will stay for long. So, you start getting used to walking alone at night. After work, the streetlights stretch your shadow across the pavement. The wind brushes your face. You don't cry, but your heart feels cold. You get used to eating alone, staring blankly at the news on your phone, occasionally thinking of someone's name, but no longer opening the conversation. You also start making decisions alone. You no longer hesitate to ask for others' opinions because you know that no one can truly bear the consequences for you. Sometimes, in the stillness of the night, you stare at the ceiling, all your emotions churning in your chest, unable to say a single word. It's not that you don't want to speak, but you realize that saying it won't change anything. Some pains, even if spoken, others won't understand. Some struggles you must digest slowly on your own. Growing up is the journey from "I hope someone understands me" to "I understand myself, and that's enough." You begin to understand that understanding is the most luxurious thing in the world, and companionship is life's rarest kindness. So, you learn silence. It's not that you've become cold, but that you finally understand how to direct your limited energy toward what truly matters. You stop wasting time explaining misunderstandings or proving who is right or wrong. You no longer let unworthy comments bother you, and you no longer suffer because someone doesn't understand you. You learn to shake your head with a smile, to stop arguing aggressively, to stop rushing to defend yourself. That is not retreat, that is strength. True strength isn't about overpowering others, but about how much you can endure. Not arguing when misunderstood, not collapsing when lonely, not giving up when failing, remaining gentle even after disappointment. Fate treats everyone the same. It doesn't favor anyone. It won't soften because you cry, nor will it change because you beg. It is cold, hard, yet fair. You may resent it and it won't respond. You may plead and it will not heed. But when you choose to face it, when you straighten your spine and refuse to run away, it begins to yield. It sees you go from panic to calm, from complaint to understanding, from despair to determination. In that moment, it begins to believe you are finally ready. And so, quietly you have made your first peace with fate. You no longer ask, "Why me?" but simply say, "Come on, I'm ready." In that moment, you have grown up. You start to understand that pain is a teacher, solitude is a trial, and endurance is a form of practice. You accept everything that happens, good or bad, favorable or adverse, sweet or bitter, as nourishment for your growth. When you can finally smile in the storm and whisper, "It's okay," after setbacks in that moment, fate has already begun to yield to you. True maturity is never a sudden transformation. It is a long, solitary journey of cultivation. You gradually realize that maturity has nothing to do with age or experience. It isn't about how many books you've read, how many lessons you've heard, or how many stories you've witnessed. It's about whether you can stay clear-headed in the midst of pain, whether you can maintain your direction even in solitude. Everyone longs to become stronger, to one day face life's storms with a smile, yet few are willing to go through the process of becoming strong. That path is too long, too quiet, too grueling. On the surface, you appear calm, diligent, smiling, but only you know how many nights you buried your sobs into your pillow, how many mornings you pretended nothing happened, looking in the mirror and saying to yourself, "It's okay. I'm fine." You smile among people, yet your heart is already full of scars. You live while healing. You're pushed forward by fate while forcing yourself to be strong. Life is just like that. It doesn't spare you because you're afraid, and it doesn't soften because you cry. It only continually presents storms, testing whether you have the courage to navigate the unseen fog. Every person who appears strong on the outside has endured silent nights. This is the path from innocence to resolve. Some people remain silent during that time. Some crumble and rebuild. They tell no one, because they know this is a road no one else can walk for them. It is a period of days that no one understands, a journey that must be endured through grit and determination. During that time, you learn to face disappointment head on. You stop relying on others to provide answers, and you stop waiting for someone to rescue you. You come to understand that the deepest pain in life must be digested by yourself. Any comfort others offer is merely a temporary painkiller. True healing always comes from your own heart. You learn not to avoid your emotions, but to coexist with them. You come to understand that emotions are not enemies. They are a pathway to understanding yourself. You start listening to your anxious thoughts, understanding them, soothing them, mastering them. You no longer let emotions rule your life. You learn self-regulation. When unease arises, you breathe deeply. When fear surges, you tell yourself, "It's okay. This too shall pass." You start finding order in unease, meaning in chaos. You stop avoiding problems. You learn to face them, process them, resolve them. You also learn to make choices. You stop insisting on proving yourself. Stop exhausting energy explaining misunderstandings. Stop clinging to those who were always meant to leave. You finally understand some relationships are only meant to walk with you for a while. Some people are simply travelers on your life journey. And so you grow quiet. You no longer expect the whole world to understand you. And you no longer try to make everyone like you. You start accepting life's imperfections, the ups and downs, the uncertainty of existence. You learn to respect every farewell and embrace every regret, because you know that loss is not a punishment, but part of growth. Maturity is not coldness. It is gentle with boundaries. It is not isolating yourself. It is learning when to be alone. You no longer fear eating alone, traveling alone, sitting in silence alone. You begin to enjoy that freedom. You realize solitude is not frightening. What is frightening is fearing your own company. And when you finally calm your mind and sit with yourself, you discover your inner voice growing clear. You hear your true desires and understand your true direction. You know what you want and what you need to let go. You no longer drift with the current, no longer get trapped by others' expectations. You stop blindly conforming to anyone's standards and choose to be your true self. You start living the way you want. That version of you may be imperfect, but it is real, free, and strong. This kind of maturity is not loud or boastful. It does not make you hard, but rather softer, more tolerant, and more peaceful. It is a quiet strength forged in storms, a resolve honed through disappointment, a gentleness polished by adversity. You no longer collapse over small matters, nor panic over minor tempests. You know that everything will pass, and all storms will eventually turn into gentle breezes. When you can bear life's burdens alone without falling, smile even when no one understands, remain kind even in pain, That is when you have completed the hardest lesson of your life. That is when you have truly matured. Not because you have become unfeeling, but because you finally understand that true strength is not proclaimed in noise, but grows in silence. Maturity is not becoming worldly, it is becoming clear-sighted. It does not mean giving up your passions, it means keeping your light even in reality. You begin to approach life's difficulties with gentleness, face fate's injustices with calm. This is maturity. It allows you to face life's storms without fear, to remain gentle in solitude, to shine in the darkest night. When you have walked through the time when no one understood you, when you can finally face all of life's storms alone, you understand that the path of enduring alone is not punishment, it is a gift. It grants you resolve, grants you courage, and grants you the strength to negotiate with fate. The world never makes way for anyone on its own. It is calm, indifferent, and full of trials. But it has one unchanging rule. It always yields to those who are worthy. While you are still complaining about life's unfairness, someone else is quietly transforming themselves. While you hesitate and waver, someone else is already running on the path. The world is cruel, yet fair. It never cares about your background. It only sees whether you are willing to endure, whether you dare to persist. When you learn to bear things alone, your presence changes. You no longer panic or complain. Your steps become steadier, your gaze brighter. It is a strength that radiates from within, a resolute sense of, I can handle this. You no longer fear storms because you know they will pass. You no longer avoid challenges because you know growth lies within them. Once you thought the world was full of hostility towards you. Later, you realize that the world has always been quiet. It targets no one. It simply filters, determining who can go further and who will remain. When you endure loneliness, you notice the path widening. When you survive the storms, you notice the light drawing near. In truth, the world hasn't changed. What has changed is you. You shift from dependence to independence, from sensitivity to calmness, from anxiety to determination. You no longer rush to prove anything because you know true value does not need to be shouted. You begin to set your own pace and gain a sense of direction in life. You no longer need others' approval to validate yourself because you understand you are enough. What truly makes the world yield for you is not luck, nor your background, but your courage to keep going time and time again. When you continue moving forward in the lowest valleys, remain kind amidst misunderstanding, and keep working hard where no one can see, your life force surpasses that of many. The world always bows to those with strong energy. Opportunities approach naturally. Mentors gradually appear. Paths extend beneath your feet. It is not that fate suddenly favors you. It is that you, through resilience, earn its respect. So do not rush to change the world. First, make yourself worthy of being seen. When you are strong enough, all doors will open for you. The world never rejects the strong. It simply waits until you are ready. The deepest wisdom in life has never been about how many times you've won, nor about how many people understand you. But about this, when no one understands you, you can still live with steadiness, serenity, and without resentment. We have all longed for someone to understand us, for a comforting word, a hug, or a moment of being truly seen. Yet eventually, you realize that some paths are meant to be walked alone, and some burdens are meant to be borne by yourself. This is not the cruelty of fate. It is a required lesson of life. Learning to endure alone is not compromise, nor resignation. It is when you finally learn to take control of the steering wheel of your own destiny. You no longer let your emotions dictate you. No longer collapse over a momentary misunderstanding. No longer allow others' indifference to define your worth. You learn to stabilize yourself in the eye of the storm, to calm your heart, cool your emotions, and slow your thoughts. Gradually, you become different. You start to see growth in failure, clarity in solitude, and opportunity in setbacks. Others see your outward calm, but do not realize that calm is the result of countless collapses you've endured to build your inner strength. Every person who can face life with a smile has once, in unseen nights, felt pain so intense it took their breath away. Every soul capable of kindness has once been crushed by life, yet still chooses to remain gentle. Life does not favor anyone. It only rewards those who can endure. What seems easy to you is just the poise others achieve after giving everything they have. The serene and calm appearance you see is their composure after grit and perseverance through storms. True strength is not in no longer feeling pain, but in learning to walk with it, not in never feeling sadness, but in knowing that after sadness you still lift your eyes to the sky. Not in never being alone, but in learning to coexist peacefully with solitude. When you realize that no one is obligated to understand your grievances, you stop complaining. When you understand that life will never change because of your tears, you withdraw dependence. When you realize that the only one who can truly save you is yourself, you begin to grow quietly strong. At that moment, you have truly grown up. You start to cultivate yourself in solitude, accumulate strength in silence, and polish your soul through pain. You no longer avoid storms, but instead open your arms to face them, knowing that each storm is teaching you to be stronger. You no longer fear the dark, because you've learned to light your own way. You no longer rely on others to hold an umbrella, because you realize you can move forward in the wind on your own. Life will not always be gentle. It has wind, waves, and unexpected turns. But it never fails those who choose to keep moving forward in the storm. Perhaps you are still lost, still struggling through pain, still fighting with loneliness, but trust this. It is not punishment, it is sculpting. Life is shaping, molding, and fulfilling you in its own way. Those nights without companionship are your classroom for growth. Those moments of persistence without understanding are the starting point of your strength. One day, when you look back, you will realize that those almost unbearable moments were all fate clearing a new path for you. So remember, do not complain, do not avoid, do not retreat. Train yourself in silence. Hone your edge in solitude. In moments of helplessness, tell yourself, it's okay, I can handle this. In moments of despair, remind yourself, don't be afraid. This is just a temporary test. Believe that life will never fail someone who is responsible for themselves and gentle toward the world. It may make you arrive a little later, but it will never let you get lost forever. When you learn to endure alone, you will discover the world truly begins to make way for you. Not because it pities you, but because it respects you. It respects your unspoken courage, your kindness in solitude, and the composure and determination you show in facing life. You earn respect through silence, gain your future through resilience, and claim your life through endurance. You no longer need others' approval, nor expect applause, because you understand you are light itself. When you can illuminate yourself, you can also illuminate others. When you can embrace the world with gentleness, the world will make a path of light for you. In that moment, you are no longer anxious about the future, no longer trapped in the past. You have reconciled with life, reconciled with fate, and reconciled with yourself. You softly tell yourself, so all the times I walked alone were actually paving the way for me. When you learn to endure alone, you possess true power. That power is not loud or showy, yet it allows you to stand tall, remain gentle, and shine brightly through life's storms. And in that moment, you are the light of your own life.